happy and you know it, clap your hands, clap, clap.
Hello, I'm Matt from Mantic.
And I am Rich from Goblin.
And so last time we looked at your Northern Lions starter box, it was the normal army box, so thought we'd run through what I've got for the Nightstalkers side. Again, you get a nice range of miniatures, it seems like. While with yours you had the siege engine, the large infantry. What I get is some nice fast boys, another hero, and more options with the scarecrow and the spectres.
Yeah, so you don't get a siege engine, do you? Get two heroes?
Yeah, and one of them has the list of spells that you can go for your Heart's Content, and then the other one, the Shade, is just absolutely rapid, firstly, and absolutely terrifying in melee. So
is he really? This is the guy climbing over the rock.
Yeah.
Just this chap here. He's fantastic. That's
painted by lovely Martins. Yeah, I've stolen everyone's paint scheme. And so what you get with these, obviously, you get the 3 butchers, you get the 5 shadow hounds, you get 40 of the scarecrow or spectre, so you can build them either way. Like we touched on with the starter, the 2-player starter set. You get a really nice option to build either the scarecrows if you want melee focused, or spectres if you want ranged. And so what you can do is, I've got them in 2 regiments. What the nice thing is, you could build them as 2 troops if you wanted a bit more maneuverability. Same with the scarecrows. So I've got them together because I figured the shooting on the spectres is absolutely incredible. So I wanted just a big blob of range.
I think you probably need them for later on when you unlock larger groups as well. Because 2 hero units is the same as my 1 hero and 1 siege, isn't it? Yeah,
to unlock my second hero, I have to have it as a regiment. And so what it brings is just, as I said, just a blob of hurt. Which is a nice alternative to what I'm used to, which is sort of picking from either side.
But because these build like 700-ish points each, we're below the 1,000, so we are disregarding, to a degree, within sensibility, that unlock rule. Not just going to let you bring
we recommend it if you are building, if it's less than 1,000 points, just ignore the troop rule, have some fun with it, and see what you like to use.
So if you want, you will be able to split them apart, and I'm not going to stop you.
Not gonna physically hurt me.
It possibly conveys some sort of an advantage, but then I've got it too because I've got my group and I've got one.
So what I get, which is a nice change, is the shadow hounds. Firstly, they're nimble and they have thunderous charge. Yeah, so they're absolutely amazing for getting around on the flank. And then, unlike most other cavalry, they have regen. So they're going to be sticking around, and you can get your other units to sort of lock them down, which is kind of what my butchers and scarecrows are for.
Thunderous charge, they're stealthy, they have regen, they're nimble and mind thirst.
Oh yeah.
That's insane. So just to kind of round up what these guys can do,
apart from everything,
mind thirst, that steals
inspiring, and so your hero there has very inspiring, if I remember correctly. So I get to steal that.
Right. And that will convey what to these guys?
So none of the Nightstalkers, to my knowledge, have inspiring. So what they rely on is taking your inspiring.
Right.
So
because they're nightmares.
So I get to roll twice on my nerve checks,
right.
And I don't even have to have it. So I can just be near you and just be like, oh, hey, how you doing?
I'll have that. And then they're nimble, so they can basically do an additional pivot throughout their movement. So you can like charge around an object.
We can do nice corkscrew charges.
Yeah, corkscrew charge.
and so what it definitely allows is that complete maneuverability and staying power. It doesn't really matter if they get into some combat because they can last.
And they can get out any way they choose to move around with different counter charges.
Oh yeah.
They regen on a 5+, and they've already got quite a lot of nerve anyway.
Yeah, they're on sort of the mid range for them, which is nice for a troop. 11 to 13.
They're stealthy, so I can't shoot them.
Yeah, which is again.
Well, I can, but it's just harder.
Yeah, the perk of the Nightstalkers is that stealthy on pretty much all of their units, and so I don't have to worry about them in open field. I don't have to go for a really wide flank. I can just sort of go on luck based and sort of charge straight through the middle and get to you.
They are thunderous charge as well.
Yes. So even even more damage when I get into you, and so they're just amazing.
And they're 125 points for a troop.
Yeah.
Which is terrible.
Speed 9.
But they are irregular, so for larger games,
yeah,
you have to actively unlock them.
No, irregular just means that you don't.
They don't count toward. Yeah. I kind of.
No, absolutely fine. So yeah, if I had a regiment of them, let's say, then they wouldn't unlock my ability to get a hero or anything. Which, thank God, because they are pretty powerful. So that's the way we've sort of toned some stuff. And then I've got my shade, which I briefly touched on, which is surprisingly fast. So speed 10.
Yeah.
So faster than the cavalry.
Yeah. They're speed 9.
And
stealthy.
And stealthy. Well, I mean, I'm just going to plaster that all over them. And so once he gets in, he's got the melee on a 3+, which is amazing. So I just kind of need to get him into combat.
And crushing strength. And he flies.
And dread.
Pretty much all their heroes have melee 3+, except the horror.
Yeah,
but then he's a caster.
The horror's more of a spellcaster, so he's more sort of picking people off with lightning. But what I love doing with anything with Bane Chant is putting it on anything that already has crushing strength, because then they just get in and start smashing stuff.
They've got some pretty horrendous stuff. And your army special rule, so we touched on that for the Northern Alliance, the Snow Foxes.
Yeah.
You have this,
Scream Shard.
Yeah. So what does that do?
So what it allows me to do is, when I use it and roll to damage, I can get Life Leech.
So what Life Leech does is, when it completes its to hit and to damage rolls in melee combat, you regain 1 point of damage it has previously suffered for every point of damage caused on the enemy unit, up to a maximum of the end. So it's not the roll that you've got to do. You are going to get it regardless. There's no roll. You've just got to cause damage.
Yeah.
Up to the level of that. So if they were Life Leech 3, you could recover up to 3.
So much.
Yeah. So that's pretty tough, because a lot of your units have. I mean, the caster has the ability to it.
Does it to have the soul?
The horror doesn't.
Options. Oh no, he doesn't. But your shade
does.
Because
my shade wants to get into melee.
Yeah.
And so putting a Scream Shard on him is going to be absolutely amazing. The units that I want to be in melee range basically are the ones that are going to get it.
Me throwing harder units at you that stick around for longer means that you stick around for longer.
Yeah.
So should I just be hitting you with glass cannons? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, they'll die faster and then they're gone. So
but then you unleash the life and I can shoot you. But then you're stealthy, so I can't shoot you. Well, I can. It just will be more difficult.
I'll still leech the life, but then I'll just move on, I guess. So it's a tricky one.
You're a scarecrow.
Yeah. So, and obviously the horror, forgetting his name, he was in the starter set as well, so he's something that I already know, which is great. He gets a full list of spells from Mind Fog, Lightning Bolt, Bane Chant, so he gets to either, you can choose him to weaken you, so you're not doing as much to me, or how I like to play him, which is just buff anything that I'm throwing into melee.
Wow.
And you can also give him an Aura of Vicious. So around him...
Oh yeah, you can.
Around him, anything will get vicious, so you get to re-roll any natural ones. So
he's got to stay up close though, hasn't he?
Yeah, so I usually put him behind the butchers, and so he can hug them and tell them that they're doing great.
Adjacent to the scarecrows behind the butchers.
Yeah. He's sort of their little pocket Bane Chant giver. And so he's more of a buffer rather than the spellcaster that you get, which are more just like lightning and doing damage.
Well, it's interesting because you've got quite a buffer. I've gone with the Ice Queen as quite a sort of crowd control option, with the freezing and frozen breath and all that jazz. So this will be really interesting. It's going to be hard to call. I'm erring to the side of you being very, very powerful.
I don't know. I know how good the Northern Alliance are, so maybe we're just both being very humble. But
well, we'll see.
I'm interested to see, especially those Shadow Hounds, because they've got a lot of good stuff they can bring.
Yeah, I'm keen to see those.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're not going to know until we play our first game with them.
Yeah.
And get into our Vanguard Kings of War flip-flopping scenarios.
Yeah, which should be really exciting. See how we do and how we all build upon the armies that we have. Because that's going to be half the fun, just sort of having a game, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't, and adding 10 more butchers.
Why not? I've got about 1,000 snow trolls.
Yeah. Yeah, that Mega Army box for the Northern Alliance is snow troll heavy.
It is. It's very troop heavy because you've got all the berserkers, you've got the ice nades, you've got the ice-skin hunters, you have another block of 30 clansmen.
Yeah.
It's great, and
Gives you a lot of stuff to play with, and we know how good they are. So
yeah. I mean, I think next time I might just go for an army like ogres, so I have less to paint.
that was Sonny's plan, and it worked, and they're very good. My God, they're strong.
Ogres, they have some cool sculpts and cool characters in there.
They're good. They're good chunky men.
Nice chunky boys.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. That
We always
is
do.
the contents of the Nightstalkers army.
Yeah.
Previously discussed the contents of the Northern Alliance army. Now we're going to get down to see how they play against each other.
Yeah. So I guess place your bets in the comments. Don't vote for me. It's a lot of pressure.
Experience versus just youthful enthusiasm.
Which one's experience?
Which one's youthful out of the two of us?
God, I don't know. My crow's feet are coming out. But yeah, vote for who you want in the comments, and what you're doing. If you've picked up one of the box sets, if you picked up the starter set, how you're finding it. And obviously we have the Facebook groups and stuff. We'd love to see your paint jobs.
The Fanatics group. I'm in the Northern Alliance Fanatics group as well.
Yeah.
There's a specific one that's got people.
Oh, is that where you all hang out?
Yeah, just for Northern Alliance players, which is quite cool. Yeah,
and
like
my own group.
Yeah, you can make Nightstalkers.
I'm gonna have to. There must be one.
Too many emos and stuff
Probably.
in there.
That's how I feel right now.
Yeah, and what do you think of the sculpts? I think these are fantastic sculpts. And I know people have been using them for other game systems too, just because they're so good.
They're absolutely mate. I mean, obviously, I'm biased as hell, but especially seeing the Nightstalkers in the Northern Alliance when we brought them out for Vanguard, it was like, God, they're amazing.
It's like the new Goblin sculpts; they were brilliant, and I'm really waiting to see the new Goblin sculpts as well.
Well,
they're overdue.
You and a certain other person that works here. It rhymes with Rob. We all know it is.
I guess Bob rhymes with Rob.
Oh God! I mean, everyone knows who he is. There's no point hiding.
He's a little bit crazy, I've heard.
Yeah, some would say that.
But yeah, he's a big Goblin fan.
Yeah.
Which is one of the main reasons why I'm not playing a Goblin army too.
Yeah.
Because I won't really be able to play against him as well. And no one is ever going to top his giant.
Yeah, if you've seen it in the Road to Kings of War, absolutely hilarious. Giant is done with the spare goblins he had knocking about. Only he could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we'll see you when we come to battle.
Yeah, now what's left is we're going to basically refine the finer points of the army, play some games, and get into this campaign. Very thematic, obviously, Nightstalkers coming into the Northern Territories.
Oh, yeah.
And slowly build and play some Vanguard games and apply those sort of end effects and start to learn more about the game ourselves.
Yeah, we're going to touch on a few sort of bite-sized rules, sort of like counter-charging, how that all works. So if you've got any rules that you're not 100% on, that you want us to make any videos on, just shout them out, and we can smash them out.
Yeah, that'll be easy. It's going to keep us busy at least.
Yeah, someone has to.
Cool. Well,
all right.
Thank you guys.
See you next time.